You know what? I'm not ashamed to admit it. Back when I was a kid, I thought Fatal Attraction was one comic book. The whole storyline was one comic book. And that was X-Men number 25 with Wolverine and Magneto on the cover. I didn't know. It just looked cool. I asked my mom to get it and she got it for me. I didn't know that it expanded, 6 different books and it expanded just about every X title they had in the 90s. I didn't know that. But we're going to rectify that now because we're going to cover the whole Fatal Attraction series, starting with X Factor number 92. If you are new to this channel, we are.
So on the first page, you see the Acolytes attacking this hospice hospital. Now the Acolytes are like the blind followers of Magneto, who in this point in X-Men's history is assumed dead. So the nurse is telling the story about what happened, and she first starts off by explaining how she's been working at hospice for a long time, and when the patients go there and like they pass away in their sleep, there's like a peacefulness and a happiness and a dignity to it. But as soon as you turn the page, all that happiness is gone. You see patients flying in the air. There's one mutant that's grabbing somebody's IV like drip. I don't know what they're doing to it, but pretty much it's going to turn them into a hashtag soon. I mean, it's crazy. But the nurse that's telling the story is actually being attacked by this mutant named Sinyaka. He has like these energy whips and he's choking her out. And as soon as you turn the page, you see how bad she got burned by the energy whips on her neck and her face and her head. I mean, it's gruesome. So the nurse is telling the story to Alex Summer, who is the brother of Scott Summer, but he's also the leader of X Factor. Valerie Cooper, who is like the government liaison because X Factor at this time is government ran, and Pietro, who is the son of Magneto at this time, but we know later on that's going to change. So as they're leaving, the nurse stops Quicksilver and asks him what kind of man can this Magneto be to inspire such insanity. And as Quicksilver is answering her question, she flatlines. So as soon as you turn the page, you see that Scanner was actually snooping in on the conversation. She flies back and goes to inform Fabian Cortez about what's going on. You could tell she's probably there. She really doesn't want to be there because Fabian Cortez is pretty much treating her like trash. It's pretty crazy. So then we cut where X Factor's headquarters is. You got Havoc, you got Multiple Man, you got Strong Guy, you got Polaris, you got Wolfsbane, obviously Valerie Cooper, and they capture Spore, who is one of the Acolytes, and he's sticking to the G code. He's pretty much like, I ain't saying nothing, and you ain't getting nothing out of me, and you know, he's sticking to it. But then Quicksilver walks in, and he just turns into a little punk, like, it's the son of the Messiah, and then he starts worshiping him and all this other kinds of other stuff. It was weird. So now that he went from sticking to the G code to being a resident of Snitch City, I mean, he might as well put some rainbow highlights in his fur. So now X Factor knows that the next attack is going to be on Camp Hayden, but Valerie Cooper is acting like weird, like she's used to bossing him around, but she's acting like extra weird, and she pretty much tells X Factor to stay back. She grabs Pietro and Random, who is not really a part of X Factor. She's more like Valerie Cooper's backup. That's a weird relationship. And they head to Camp Hayden. So obviously X Factor's not going to hang back, and they decide to follow Valerie in this new ship that Ford's built for him. That's designed for Polaris to pilot using her mutant powers. But if you know anything about Polaris back then, she wasn't like the greatest with it. Her confidence level wasn't as high as it is, like I guess now. And so they're being tossed around a little bit, and Strong Guy is like he's going to be sick, and then she has to stop the ship. Suddenly Strong Guy throws up because they run into Exorcists. So I'm thinking to myself, well, that's a wrap. I mean, they'll be lucky to live through this experience, let alone beat this guy and keep following him, because Exorcist is a beast. But he kind of just looks at him. Seems like he wants to say something, but then he doesn't, and it just kind of flies off. So they continue to follow Valerie to Camp Hayden. So now Valerie, Pietro, and Random make it to Camp Hayden, and obviously they're met with resistance, and Pietro just runs around, takes all the soldiers' guns. Like, what are you gonna do? And then all of a sudden, Senator Robert Kelly pops up out of nowhere. So Senator Kelly's like, you're not authorized to be here. What are you doing here? You need to leave the premises. And Valerie Cooper is like pulling rank on him, like pretty much we're doing an investigation and you need to get out of the way because, you know, we need to investigate the base. And as they're walking, she's explaining Project Wide Awake. So one of the original OGs to this YouTube comic book stuff is Rob from Comics Explained, and he breaks down Project Wide Awake a lot better than what I can ever break down. So definitely go check out his channel and check out the video if you want to know more. The short and skinny of it is Project Wide Awake is like a government agency, well, government officials pretty much came together to talk about the mutant problem. Senator Robert Kelly is the one who is spearheading it at this time when the comic book's going on. And Boulevard Trash is the one who pretty much made the Sentinel program. And what you see here is the second generation of Sentinels. Now, unfortunately for Valerie Cooper, X Factor is caught up and they heard everything. And they are pissed. I mean, it looks like they're about to start beating her up. Only thing that kind of saves her is the Acolytes show up. So now they all break off into like individual fights. And I'm not going to get into all of them. You know, if you want to check out the comic book to check out all the details, that's fine. But I will get into my favorite one, and that was Jamie Madrox's Multi-Man. So he's fighting this guy, Seamus Mellencamp. He looks like this reptile type of mutant. He has really sharp claws and really sharp teeth. And this dude is like running through all of his like duplicates, and he feels like he has the main guy, the main Jamie Madrox. And he's even talking to him, talking about, you know, before I kill you, I'm gonna hurt you real bad. And he sticks his thumbs into his eyes and he blinds him. And like, it's gruesome. He's bleeding everywhere. And Jamie's like, I hate to do this. And the duplicate that got blinded sticks his hand into Seamus's mouth and he duplicates himself. And then the original Jamie's like all the way on the other side and he's like, you made me do this. And the clone's like, it's easy for you to say. I mean, it was nuts. It was like the best part of the comic. So the second coolest part of this comic was when Fabian Cortez is trying to convince Pedro to come back to the Acolytes and lead them. And, you know, Pedro, I meant to say Pietro, I apologize. So it's like just standing there, right? And Fabian Cortez, like, you know, you're not even trying to help. He's like, little do you know, I've been saving everybody that I can. I'm just moving so fast, it just seems like I'm standing still. I was like, oh, that was raw. So X Factor is winning all their individual fights, and then Scanner pretty much gets all the Acolytes out of there. So it seems like X Factor won the day, but then they turn around and the Sentinels are gone. They don't know if the Acolytes took them or if Senator Robert Kelly took them. They don't know where the hell they're at. And then Valerie Cooper starts to cough up this green thing that falls out of her mouth. A few issues ago, she got kidnapped by the Acolytes, and I guess they implanted this in her, and this is why she was acting all crazy, because now she's all being remorseful and saying, you know, please forgive me, and X Factor is not trying to hear it, and everybody's pretty much walking away from her. And that's how the comic book ends. So if you're an OG and this is something that you read before, please let me know if it brought back any memories and what was your favorite part. Or if you're brand new to this storyline, please let me know which part was your favorite, or if you're digging this series, because I'm telling you, each issue just gets more exciting. And the next issue in this series is going to be X-Force number 25. And saying that, if you are new here to SEM Comics, please hit that button and become part of this SEM Nation. Once you become part of this nation, you hit that notification. You'll know when a new video comes out. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and share with a friend. My name is Dorian. This is SEM Comics. Thank you guys for watching my videos. I really do appreciate it. And you guys have a good day.